Forgive my lack of tilak. I got rained out of work today and then realized it was time for class right now. But I didn't decorate my body properly.
You could probably find some tilak there after the kirtan.
What's that?
After the kirtan, you might find some tilak there, right?
Yes, I have. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutali Gurudasa Jayadvaita Swami Niti Namine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutali Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shonyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
I Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Pariprajaka Ashto Turasati Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Sakaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gop Gopinath Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Navadip Dham Ki Jai Jagannath Puri Ki Jai Gangamai ki jai, Shamanamai ki jai, Tulsi Devi ki jai, Bhakti Devi ki jai, Samaveta Bhaktivinoda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol. Thank you so much, Maharaj, and thank you, Radhesha Prabhu, for the kirtan. And thank you to everyone for being here for Srimad Bhagavatam class with His Holiness Jayadvaita Swami. It is Friday, March the 3rd, 2023, at least in New York, a day later in Vrindavan. We are in the third canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam tonight, starting with verse number 7, and eager to hear your questions and comments. And if you'd like to lead the closing kirtan, let me know, or simply do so. And we're glad you could be with us, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Kendra Prabhu. And thank you, Radhesha. Thank you to all. We just got a message that our Mahesh Pandit Prabhu has had a heart attack. He's in South India. He seems to be in stable condition, but they want to find out what the causes and so on. So our prayers and best wishes can be with him. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tesham Supakva Yoganam Chitasvasendriyatmanam Labdha Yushmat Prasadanam Nakutaschit Parabhavaha. There's no defeat in this material world for persons who control the mind and senses by controlling the breathing process, and who are therefore experienced, mature mystics. This is because by such perfection in yoga, they have attained your mercy. Purport. The purpose of yogic performances is explained here. It is said that an experienced mystic attains full control of the senses and the mind by controlling the breathing process. Therefore, controlling the breathing process is not the ultimate goal of yoga, ultimate aim of yoga. The real purpose of yoga performances is to control the mind and the senses. Anyone who has such control is to be understood to be an experienced, mature mystic yogi. It is indicated herein that a yogi who has control over the mind and the senses has the actual benediction of the Lord, and he has no fear. In other words, one cannot attain the mercy and benediction of the Supreme Lord until one is able to control the mind and the senses. This is actually possible when one fully engages in Krishna consciousness. A person whose senses and mind are always engaged in the transcendental service of the Lord has no possibility of engaging in material activities. Devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. It is stated, Narayana Para Sarve. One who is Narayana Para, or a devotee of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is not afraid anywhere, whether he's sent to hell or promoted to heaven. Bhagavatam 6:17-28. Om Gana Timirandasya Yananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Tadhati Shapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jatapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Shagrajatam Shahagana Raganatan Vitam Stam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savatutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Shahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Sapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hori Priye Vansha Kolpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindho Pyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vashadi Gaur Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Tesham supakta yoga nam chitasva sendriyatmana labdha yushmat prasadanam nakutaschit parabhava. Supakta yoga nam, the yogis who are, just give me, the yogis who are supakva, quite mature in yoga practice. Tatsvayam's, what is the Yoga Sangsid hymn? That's Tatsvayam Yoga Sangsidham Akalinatmane Vindati. The mature yogis can understand the Supreme Personality, understand themselves and the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the because of the mercy of the Lord. Yushmat Prasadana. The immature yogis still have to wait, and the pseudo-yogis or imagined yogis, pretend yogis or silly yogis can't expect much of anything. They can just play with their breath and do some exercises, the silly yogis. And others can go on with more serious practice. But without the mercy of the Lord, it will be very difficult to attain perfection. And without controlling the mind and senses, it will be difficult to attain the mercy of the Lord. Yesham twantagatam papam jananam punyakarmana. One has to stop sinful activities. It's not that one can go on with sinful activities and still expect to get any tangible result by practicing yoga. And beyond that, for those who are seriously following the process of mystic yoga, there are so many severe, strict disciplines to be followed. So Jittasvasa, Indriya, Atmanam, they have to control their breath, their senses, and the mind. So Krishna consciousness is the more effective process. In this age, we control our breath by chanting the holy name of the Lord. We control our senses by engaging them in the service of the Lord. And we can control our minds by thinking of the Lord and by chanting the holy name of the Lord. Prabhupada said chanting means thinking. That is, if you're chanting Hare Krishna, you're thinking of Krishna. So by the suitable practice, Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Abhyasena tukonteya vairagena chagriyate. And Arjuna says that the mind is very difficult to control. Krishna agrees that asamshayam mahabahu mano durnigraham phalam. It's very difficult to control the mind. But abhyasena, by suitable practice, Prabhupada translates, and by detachment, vairagya, it's possible. Abhyasena tukonteya vairagena chagriyate. So one should take the suitable process, not the infeasible or unsuitable process, something meant for another age and imitated in this age. So Yushmat prasadanam na kutashchit parabhava. Parabhava means defeat. In parabhava stavada bodha jato yavana jigyasata atma tattva. Whoever fails to inquire about atma tattva is a failure in his life. But a devotee who engages fully in the service of Krishna is never a failure. Even if he's incomplete, apakva. What is that, Narad Muni? Apakva tato vajayati, like that. No. Chakvasvadharmam charanam bhujam parer bhajanna pakvota tato yada, like that. Even if one gives up everything, all other duties, and surrenders to Krishna, and still falls down because of being apakva, not fully mature, he's not defeated. There's no loss for him. What is that in the Bhagavad Gita? That there's no loss. Neha vikramanashosti pratyavayam vidyate. There's no loss, there's no diminution. So there's no defeat. He may have a setback, but not a defeat. The devotee will ultimately be victorious. And the non-devotee is always defeated. Here we'll find that the greatest of the demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, are defeated by the power of the Lord. And the ordinary demons don't even get the benefit of the Lord's taking special interest in them. They're just defeated by their own foolishness and the workings of material nature. Yeah. Chakvasvadharmam charanam bhujam harer bhajanna pakvota pate tato yudi yatra kvavabhadram abudamushakim ovartap to patatam swadharmatam. One who has forsaken his material occupations to engage in the devotional service of the Lord may sometimes fall down while in an immature stage, yet there's no danger of his being unsuccessful. On the other hand, a non-devotee, though fully engaged in occupational duties, does not gain anything. Any comments or questions?
Saraswati Mata has a hand up.
Okay. Yes.
Pranam Parampuchya Maharaj. So once again, the dire need to control the senses is emphasized, especially the unruly mind. I was listening to an interview from an Olympian gold medalist skier who was talking about what it took to win this gold medal, namely the hardcore, continuous years of practice on the mountain slope from dawn to dusk under all types of brutal weather. He said in order to give your best performance of a few minutes in this competition, there was a lifetime of preparation. I mean, in the beginning, he said his mind would often tell him to throw in the towel because it was a daily grind keeping up the practice with no guarantees of success. But there came a point of no return where the mind did become his greatest ally, so much so that even when the physical body would protest at the pain endured, the mind would override that pain signal and say to push even further. I mean, this is just a mundane example. And here we've read that you cannot obtain the mercy and benediction of the Lord unless and until you can control your mind and senses. So I'm thinking, when will my point of no return come? And when will my mind become my greatest ally? Because I'm not there. And yes, I've been practicing the core regulative principles for a long time. I've been preparing, but I'm still distracted and attracted to material things despite the practice. I read somewhere that the heart remembers what the heart remembers, the mind cannot ever delete. So it's clear, Maharaj, that I have failed miserably to fix the Guru, Vaishnavas, Shastra, and Krishna in my heart permanently because my mind is not my greatest ally. And until you can control your senses, if you cannot get the benediction and mercy of Krishna, then I don't understand how there will come a time when I can, because I need his mercy their mercy in order to control my mind. And until I can control the mind, I cannot get the mercy. So this is like a catch-22 situation. Thank you, Maharaj.
As far as the catch-22, it's not exactly a catch-22, although it's circular. The circles in the material world just keep going round and round and going nowhere. But the circles in the service of Krishna are perhaps more like spirals. They augment one another. That is to say, you make a little progress in controlling the mind, we get a little more mercy. A little more mercy, we can control the mind more, and so on. It's not first you have to do this, then you can do that. It's not so strict. Swalpam apyasya dharmasya. Even a little bit of devotional service will help us greatly. So, as for when we'll attain perfection, that is up to Krishna. But it's what is that? And Krishna says there's no doubt at the word from the samshaya, many places. And what is that? Nachirad parta maya veshat chetasa. We just have to go on with that hope, and hope and confidence, because I'm following the right process, I'm sure that I'll attain the goal. It's just a question of time. Okay, something else?
Yes, Maharaj. Actually, I was
Yes.
thinking, Prabhupada is speaking here about how devotees of the Lord are not defeated anywhere in the universe. I got the sense that he might have been speaking from his own experience, recalling one statement he made that I act like a king because no one can defeat me. And his very name means fearless.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Yasya vacha praja sarva gavastantyeva yantritaha varanti balamayatas tasmai mukyaya te namaha. All the living entities within the universe are conducted by the Vedic directions, as a bull is directed by the rope attached to its nose. No one can violate the rules laid down in the Vedic literatures. To the chief person who has contributed the Vedas, we offer our respect. Purport. The Vedic literatures are the laws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One cannot violate the injunctions given in the Vedic literatures any more than one can violate the state laws. Any living creature who wants real benefit in life must act according to the direction of the Vedic literature. The conditioned souls who have come to this material world for material sense gratification are regulated by the injunctions of the Vedic literature. Sense gratification is just like salt. One cannot take too much or too little, but one must take some salt in order to make one's foodstuff palatable. Those conditioned souls who have come to this material world should utilize their senses according to the direction of the Vedic literature. Otherwise, they will be put into a more miserable condition of life. No human being or demigod can enact laws like those of the Vedic literature, because the Vedic regulations are prescribed by the Supreme Lord. The Vedic injunctions, Dharmam hi sakshat bhagavat pranita, are ordained by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And it's an interesting, there's some points here. No one can deviate from the Vedic divisions, Vedic direction. We're like bulls fastened to a rope. I see at least two ways of looking at this. I think I cited this verse or another like it the other day in regard to the question about determinism and free will. To what extent do we have free will? To what extent are things determined? And here it's indicated that we have not much scope for acting independently. No scope, in fact, for acting independently. We have tiny independence and we can misuse it to act against the directions of the Lord. But if we do that, then we create more suffering for ourselves. And then we become more subject to more stringently subject to the laws of the Lord. You try to get out of a prison by jumping over the wall or by some other scheme, and you get put in solitary, or you get subjected to worse punishment. So we don't have much scope here. One must follow the directions of the Lord, or else suffer more. So that's, in that sense, we're directed or tied to the ropes of the Vedic injunctions. Or another way that, Prabhupada said, no, here it said no one can violate the rules, and Prabhupada takes it, no one can violate the rules without suffering further. Just like no one can rob the bank. But yes, you can rob the bank, but then you'll suffer more. You'll go to jail. All right. Any questions here or comments? Okay. Satvam vidhatsva shambhumams tamasa lupta karmanam Atabra dayaya drishtya apanan arhasikshitum. The demigods prayed to Brahma, "Please look upon us mercifully, for we have fallen into a miserable condition. Because of the darkness, all our work has been suspended." So now the demigods, having, as Prabhupada said, sufficiently glorified Brahma, sufficiently means amply glorified Lord Brahma, present their problems. Sir, here's the difficulty. Because of complete darkness throughout the universe, the regular activities and engagements of all the different planets were suspended. In the north and south poles of this planet, there are sometimes no divisions of day and night. Similarly, when the sunlight does not approach the different planets within the universe, there's no distinction between day and night. Yes. The tamasa lupta karmana, all prescribed duties have been suspended because of the darkness, which is said here to be continuous. No difference between day and night. That means it's all night. Then, so please give us your mercy. Tabra tayaya drishtya. Look mercifully upon us. Apanan, we're surrendered. So please help us. And again, they're approaching Brahma as the representative of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Yes, Kendra Prabhu.
Well, first, Maharaj, Tulsi Priya posted a relevant verse just a little bit up in the chat.
Kalo baliyan balinam bhagavan isharo vyayaha praja kaliyate kridan pashu palo yata pashun. Inexhaustible time, stronger than the strong, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. Like a herdsman moving his animals along, he moves mortal creatures as his pastime. Perfect. Yes, this is exactly how things stand. We're all under the control of time. And ahankara vimuttatma kartan. We think that we're doing everything and that we're independent. We're yoked to the wheel of time. Thank you. And there was something else to Kendra Prabhu?
Yes, actually, we've been reading this pastime for some time, and it only just tonight occurred to me that what's going on for the demigods is something like different than India and than in the US. But when there's a power outage, people call up the power company. They want to know, well, what happened? Did a tree hit a power pole? Is there, we don't see a sufficient ice storm build up on the power lines? What's going on? When is our power going to be restored so our normal activities can resume?
Yeah. They have to approach the authorities, and otherwise they'll be bewildered. Everything's gone dark. Everything's gone dark. And we can imagine how frightening this is, really, that this is the stuff of science fiction movies, where a darkness descends over the earth and no one knows why, and it has something to do with something, and only the heroes can save us. So of course that's fiction with no benefit to it. But Prabhupada points out that there are places in the universe where, practically speaking, it's darkness all the time. Of course, that's expected. That's part of the regular program there. But, and this was unexpected. How is it possible that that everything is plunged into darkness? Everything is plunged into darkness. So that was the power of these demons, even in the womb. They were already disrupting the cosmic affairs to this extent. And now we don't have such demons as those, but we see that there are demonic persons, demonic groups, demonic forces at work that create fearful situations for the whole world. They put the whole world in fear by their demonic activities, and then people don't know what to do. Why? What's happening? And then they approach some authority who lies to them about it. And it exploits the opportunity to cheat them more. So here, of course, and that's what happens if we take shelter of demons. What can we expect? Demons aren't nice. Demons aren't benevolent. Demons aren't thinking of our benefit as much as they may say, yes, we're here to serve you. We're here for the public welfare. That's all understood to be a simple lie. What is that in the Bhagavad Gita? Kamam dushpuram. What is it? Kamam dushpuram dhanamanam adanvita. I've forgotten the first word. Kamam ashrita dushpuram. As we take shelter of Krishna, they take shelter of material sense gratification. And that's their program, to get more and more. Idam adya maya labdham mimam prapsye manoratam. Idam astidam api me bhavishyati punardhanam. I've gotten so much now, power, money, women. I'll get more according to my plans. My money will grow. What is that? Aso maya atam shatrur hanishe chaparan api. I've murdered my opponents. I'll murder my other opponents, my enemies. Isharo ham, I'm in control. Ham bhogi, and I can enjoy. Isharam ho siddho ham balavan sukhi. I'm perfect. I'm powerful. I'm happy. Adyo bijanavan asmi. I'm surrounded by my relatives. Maybe all my brothers are ministers in the kingdom, or maybe my relatives are there as government officials, or they're working in the background. I'm surrounded by my relatives and my circle of allies. Konyosti sadrisho maya. Who else is there like me? Yasya dakshe modishya ityagana vimohita. Not yasya. But anyway, I'll perform some charity, I'll do some good work, and I'll enjoy. So in this way, they're overwhelmed by ignorance. They're constantly in the darkness, and other people take shelter of them and are plunged into darkness also. But the darkness is, it's not exactly darkness, it's the darkness of illusion. It appears that we can see, but actually we're in darkness. So this is the influence of demonic people. They can plunge the world into darkness. They can plunge the world into turmoil and suffering. What is that? Prabhavanti Yuga Karmana Kshayaya Jagato Hita. They can flourish in their demonic activities, creating ugra karma, nasty activities meant for destruction in the world. This is the demonic influence. So we find it here to an extraordinary extent in the activities or the influence of the fallen Jai and Vijay as two demons, Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. But we shouldn't think that no such influence is there with us today. We're still under the, what should we say, affected. The world is still affected or tortured by the influence of demonic human beings, or so-called human beings, as Prabhupada would say. And therefore the devotees have to take shelter of Krishna and his mercy in order to be saved from Kali, the age of degradation. Okay, anything else?
There's something more in the chat from Saraswati Mata.
Okay. Yeah, there's Kamamashriti Dushpuram, Dambhaman, Madandhan, Moha Greed, Vasidhan, Vartante, Suchivrata. The demigods, Saraswati says, have access to Lord Brahma, and in turn Lord Vishnu, whenever there are apocalyptic events occurring for solutions, reassurances, and even previously any common citizen could approach the king, who was readily approachable to cite any problems, even trivial ones. But now there isn't anyone you can go to that will actually care to solve problems. They will pass the buck around until you grow weary and give up, or tell you there's nothing to be done. Therefore, we have to take shelter of Krishna and the representative of Krishna. Take shelter of Krishna and the spiritual master, the Vaishnavas. Krishna's Achyuta, infallible. Everybody else is Achyuta, fallen. Krishna and those who are devoted to Krishna. Esha Deva Tatir Garbha Ojakashapam Arpitam Vishas Timirayan Sarva Vardhategnir Ivaitasi. As fuel overloads a fire, so the embryo created by the semen of Kashyap in the womb of Diti has caused complete darkness throughout the universe. Purport: the darkness throughout the universe is explained herewith as being caused by the embryo created in the womb of Diti by the semen of Kashyapa. Question came up, I think, in a previous class. To what extent were the demigods just in ignorance of what was going on? They approached Lord Brahma. What is this all about? So here we find that they were aware that they were aware that it was because of the Garbha, the embryo in the womb of Diti. But how is this happening? How could they be so powerful? And what can we do? For that, they were approaching Lord Brahma. Yes, Tulsi Priya.
Maharaj, could you please explain the analogy or the metaphor of the fuel overloads a fire. I understand when you pour too much fuel on a fire, instead of making it burn brighter, it puts it out. But I'm not understanding how it relates to the embryo and the semen of Kashyapa.
Well, it's explained in the verse, as you said, fuel overloads the fire. Fuel is okay. But if you put too much fuel, then you put out your fire. That's also relevant to what we heard in previous purport. Prabhupada said, too much salt and you can't eat, too little salt you can't eat. So the salt has to be regulated, then everything's all right. So here, sense gratification has to be regulated. Too much sense gratification, not enough sense gratification, and life will be very difficult. And too much sense gratification, and this is what we get: demonic Varna Sankara, children who Sankaro Narakayaiva, who make the whole world hellish. So fuel overloads a fire and creates, therefore, darkness. So there's a kind of universal overload here. This is too much. We don't mind children, but these children are so demonic and powerfully demonic that they've caused darkness throughout the universe. A few demons we can handle. The usual run-of-the-mill demons we could deal with. But what is this? These demons are so powerful that just their presence in the womb is already putting the world in darkness. So just as fuel overloads a fire, these too much fuel overloads a fire. The presence of these demons has overloaded the entire universal cosmic system of regulated activities. They've even put the whole universe into darkness. Is that okay?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Mhm.
I'm thinking of an expression that people use sometimes, like when you deal with a person who is very needy and requires a lot of attention and everything has to be about them all the time. They say he sucked all the air out of the room. And so I'm thinking like the quality of the lust, the kama in these embryos was so intense that they just sucked all the life out of the light out of the universe.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's appropriate, but it just made me think of it.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Maitreya Uvacha Saprahasya Mahabaho Bhagavan Shabdagocharaha Prachachashtatma Pur Devan Grinan Ruchiraya Gira. Sri Maitreya said, thus Lord Brahma, who is understood by transcendental vibration, tried to satisfy the demigods, being pleased with their words of prayer. Purport: Brahma could understand the misdeeds of Diti, and therefore he smiled at the whole situation. He replied to the demigods present there in words they could understand. The first thought that occurs to me is that see the way they approach Brahma. They didn't say, you're in charge of the universe, what's going on here? You've messed up. You're responsible for this. When are you going to do something about it? That's the demonic kind of mentality. But here they praised Brahma, they admitted their own bewilderment, their dependency upon him as a higher authority. They glorified Brahma. And then they asked for help. So these are all signs of culture, of being civilized. An uncivilized person or doesn't know how to approach a superior. He approaches the superior as if the superior were his subordinate. So here they acknowledged the importance of Brahma. Saprahasya. So Brahma answered Saprahasya with some smiling. Vishwanath Chakravarti comments, just as an elder smiles at small children. The Shabdagochara, the Brahma or the personality of Godhead is understood by transcendental sound, not by seeing and not by material efforts. Bhagavan Shabdagochara. So Pratyachashta, the Atmavu, the self-born Lord Brahma, replies to the demigods. Prinan Ruchiraya Gita, as the demigods had approached Brahma with sweet words in a submissive way. So Brahma's Pratyachashta, he is reciprocating with them by also speaking reassuring words in a sweet manner. Satyam Priya Hitam Chayat in the Bhagavad Gita, that the posterity of speech and the mode of goodness consists of speaking that which is true, Satyam, and Priya Hitam, beneficial and pleasing. Yes. So Brahma is that. And we find in the Bhagavad Gita also that Lord Krishna, he's also Prahasaniva, almost smiling or slightly smiling. And Prabhupada gave the same example given by Vishwanath here as a parent deals with a child. The child is crying because he's having a nightmare. And the parents come in, they're not worried that the child is being eaten by a tiger. They see that this is a nightmare. So they smile a little bit and they speak reassuring words to the child. That's all right, that's all right. This is just a bad dream. Everything will be all right. So the Brahma is replying accordingly to the demigods. Also, Vishwanath says, the ignorant praise me. I am useless to deliver them from this difficulty. So he smiled just as an elder smiles at small children. You're praising me. That's kind of a joke. You're childish. You don't really understand who I am. You think that I'm great stuff. I'm just the humble servant of the personality of Godhead, and he's the one who can do something about this. So in this way, he smiles at the less well-informed demigods. Okay, anything else? Well, this is actually a good place to stop because now we're at the beginning of Lord Brahma's answer, his response. So we can stop here, I think, and have kirtan. And then we'll resume on our Monday here. No, I'm sorry. Yes, on our Monday here. No, our Tuesday here, your Monday. All right, and who would like to lead kirtan?
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Bol.
Jai Om Vishnupad Punamhansa Paribrajacharya Stotra Shri Srimad A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai, Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai, Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Sham Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai, Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai, Navadip Dham Ki Jai, Jagannath Puri Ki Jai, Ganga Mai Ki Jai, Jamuna Mai Ki Jai, Tulsi Devi Ki Jai, Bhakti Devi Ki Jai, Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande. Hari Bol. Thank you all very much. Thank you, Krishna Kantiya. As I mentioned earlier, our Mahesh Pandit Prabhu, who's usually on this class, has had a heart attack. He's in stable condition, and we offer our prayers and best wishes for his recovery. Thank you all again. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Shraddha. Hare Das, Prabhu, Hare Ram.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Jayadvaita Maharaj ki jai.
Samaveta Bhakta Brinda ki jai. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Hare Bol. Gurdas Maharaj ki jai.
Hare Krishna.